Wonderful to be with you. My name's Elizabeth.
And I'm John, and today is obviously buy one, get one free day at the Dzogchen Foundation, so welcome. Elizabeth and I are longtime students of Lama Surya's, and we're very happy to be here and have this opportunity to practice with everybody and to take the backward step and just be together.
So it's so good to see you all, and we thought it would be lovely to begin our practice with the 7-line supplication. So Kelly, if you could please put up page 1. Thank you so much. Kongujen yuji nujang sam pemage sadong Yatsen shoki nurunye Pema junge jesudra Koru kanro mango Kegi jesu tatruki Jinji lakshi sheksu so Guru Pema Siddhi Hum Hum Ujin Yuji Nung Chang Sam Pema Gesa Dong Pola Yatsen Shoki Nurunye Pema June Jesudra Koru kanro mango Kegi jesu tatruki Jinji lakshi sheksu so Guru Pema Siddhi Hum Om Ahum Benza 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 Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. So, on this beautiful rainy, at least where we are, somewhat overcast spring morning, or whatever time of day it is where you are, we wanted to use this time, this precious time, to look a little bit more deeply into naturalness, to tune into this season, this moment, this cycle. Naturalness is, after all, at the core of our Dzogchen practice. So let's take a breath to get, as Lama says, from here to really here. Take a moment maybe to check in with yourself, your body, your breath, your heart, mind. Dzogchen invites us to start from a place of ease, Yoshua Kempo, our grandmaster, calls Dzogchen the cozy, comfy path. Let's get comfy and let all of our planning and preoccupations go just for now. So let's do the Dzogchen mantra 3 times just to tune in and tune up our awareness. So taking a deep breath and then letting it out with a big oh. Relaxing, opening. And again, letting all the air out. Oh. 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 Right. Letting go of all reference points, going a little gaga. And let's double our letting go this time, getting even more comfortable. Ready? Ah. Imaho. So pondering or feeling into naturalness today a little bit. Sometimes I wonder what keeps me from a feeling of naturalness, or what could keep us from a feeling of naturalness even right now. After all, everything is it. Nothing is excluded, whether or not we notice. For me, I can get into a loop of doing, planning, fixing, taking care, maybe, and forget the big picture of which I'm just a tiny part. Sometimes in my daily preoccupations and agenda, I lose track of this breath, this moment, this amazing gift of the present, the tea bag of naturalness that we're all steeping in. So sometimes I get caught up, I get caught. Even though, as Lama said so beautifully on the retreat yesterday, we're pickling in it. We're all pickling in it. Naturalness and simplicity are here all the time. And sometimes they can feel elusive. Sometimes I notice a subtle resistance, not so subtle, sure, to letting go and simplifying. But what is that and what causes it? In a word, it's meing. But, what about this? What about that? This and that. But when we really let go into the flow and flop, really flop, there is real freedom in that, right? Opening wider, becoming more inclusive, letting it all come and go. Passing through like a door in the sky without hinges, without boundaries, and making space for all of it, all of it. The ancient Chinese idea of wu wei, or beyond doing and not doing, being in the natural flow, is much like our Dzogchen practice of natural meditation. One practice that's helped me refresh my embodied experience of naturalness is Tai Chi. Tai Chi practice helps me really slow down and just move, continuously flowing in one direction and then its opposite, as if equalizing and harmonizing the dualities of my daily life and mental constructs into one long movement, as if in one breath. And in addition to constant flow and no holding, the weight shifts from full to empty, helping a Tai Chi practitioner to actually embody naturalness and balance. After all, letting come and go, or in the flow, is Rigpa, nowness awareness. And as Dojin Rinpoche says, nowness awareness is the unfabricated Buddha within.
So we decided on this topic about a week ago, and I've been practicing with naturalness all week, or trying to, and thinking about it. And one thing that kept coming up was that we all have a sense of what naturalness is, some sort of being in harmony with nature, some sort of opposition to whatever unnaturalness is. And it reminded me of John Kabat-Zinn in Wherever You Go, There You Are, gives the meditation instruction that people should sit with dignity. And everyone kind of knows what that means. You know, you don't have to say, oh, move your elbow 2 inches to the right or whatever. You get the idea of dignity, and you just, sit up a little straighter, but not too tense. And naturalness is quite a bit like that. I mean, it kind of, I felt like, carries its own meaning in that way. But so maybe like a lot of analysis about it or explication of it is somehow unnecessary. And yet there are a couple aspects of it that I think that are worth sharing, and some examples that I'd love to share. One aspect of it seems to be like non-forcing. And as Elizabeth said, everything's natural, but when you're really forcing, that seems less natural. Another aspect of it seems to be the idea of really being in a flow state, and really in accord with what's going on. And there's a third aspect of it that seems to be a little anti-philosophical, anti-scholarly. So I'd like to share a couple of readings, and first an anecdote of mine, just to bring out these three different parts of naturalness. The anecdote is, I started off my Buddhist career as a Zen student, and in about 2008, I went on my first weekend retreat, and I was pretty excited because I knew that, I would be enlightened by Sunday, and, all I had to do was follow the program and try hard, and it was all going to go like that. And so Zen, unlike Dzogchen, nobody tells you to find a comfy seat. They tell you to sit there and not move. And the program was, wake up at 4 a.m, sit for 35-minute periods, interspersed with 10-minute periods, with lunch and whatever, but basically do that until 9:30 at night. And that's all great, and it's wonderful. But the problem is, if you don't do that all the time, sitting in half lotus position is excruciatingly painful after about an hour. And so, I was okay Thursday night. By middle of the morning, Friday morning, I was dying and my knees were on fire. But I was determined because I was going to get enlightened. So I sat there, damn it, and it hurt. And it really hurt. And it hurt all day Friday, and it hurt all morning Saturday. And by like 2 p.m. Saturday, I just couldn't take it anymore. And while they encourage you to do this, they don't make you. There are chairs at the back of the room, for the people who aren't tough enough to do the real Zen thing. And so, by like 2 on that Saturday, having endured this excruciating pain, I said to myself, look, no Buddhist expert, but this can't be the middle way. And I went and sat in a chair. And the sense of relief that washed over me, I mean, I'm not saying it was enlightenment, but it was really great, and it was natural. And instead of trying and forcing so hard, I was just sitting there, and the juxtaposition of the forcing with the not forcing just brought home the incredible virtue of just being natural. And as Lama says, just sitting, just being, and just breathing to the extent that I still could at that point. Number 2. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this, but Taoism is a philosophy or religion that is so excited about harmony with nature, harmony with the Tao, harmony with reality and the way things are, that, you could say that the entire religion is literally about that. And one of my favorite Taoist writings is from Chuang-Tzu about Butcher Ding cutting up an ox. So I just want to share that with you because I love it. And apologies if you all know it well, but it's only worth hearing again. So Butcher Ding was cutting up an ox for Lord Wen Wei. At every touch of his hand, every heave of his shoulder, and every move of his feet, every thrust of his knee, zip zoop, he slithered the knife along with the zing, and all was in perfect rhythm, as though he were performing the dance of the mulberry grove. Ah, this is marvelous, said Lord Wen Wei. Imagine the skill reaching such heights. Butcher Ding laid down his knife and replied, what I care about is the way, which goes beyond all skill. When I first began cutting up oxen, all I could see was the ox itself. After 3 years, I no longer saw the whole ox. And now, I go at it by spirit and don't look with my eyes. Perception and understanding have come to a stop, and spirit moves where it wants. I go along with the natural makeup, striking in the big hollows, guide the knife through the big openings, and follow things as they are. I never touch the smallest ligament or tendon, much less a main joint. A good cook changes his knife once a year because he cuts. A mediocre cook changes his knife once a month because he hacks. I've had this knife of mine for 19 years, and I've cut up thousands of oxen with it, yet the blade is as good as though it had just come off the grindstone. There are spaces between the joints, and the blade of the knife has really no thickness. If you insert what has no thickness into such spaces, then there's plenty of room, more than enough for the blade to play about in. That's why after 19 years, the blade of my knife is still as good as when it first came from the grindstone. However, whenever I come to a complicated place, I size up the difficulties, tell myself to watch out and be careful, keep my eyes on what I'm doing, and work very slowly. Then move the knife with the greatest subtlety until flop, the whole thing comes apart like a clod of earth crumbling to the ground. I stand there holding the knife and look all around me, completely satisfied and reluctant to move on. Then I wipe off the knife and put it away. Excellent, said the Lord. I've heard the words of Butcher Ding and learned how to care for life. So that just always strikes me as like the best explication or example of what a flow state is, and almost the power and harmony that's unlocked by really connecting with naturalness. Finally, I wanted to share a short reading from a book called A Monastery Within, Tales from the Buddhist Path by Gil Fronsdal, who's a Buddhist teacher, originally Zen and now in the Spirit Rock teaching, tradition, lineage, whatever they are. This is a gem of a book. If nothing else, go out and buy this book. It's just these little stories about kind of a mythical Buddhist abbess, and they're wonderful. So this one's called Alternative to Philosophy. After lunch one day, the abbess and a visiting philosophy professor went for a walk along the river that passed by the monastery. Being a hot day, they eventually sat down to cool off under the shade of a large tree. The professor asked, "I'm interested in learning Buddhist philosophy. Could you tell me some of the fundamental doctrines of your religion?" "Well," the abbess said, "I don't think I can help you much. You see, we don't rely on philosophy at the monastery." "But," continued the professor, "everyone, consciously or unconsciously, has a philosophy which they use to make sense of their life and their purpose." "It's different at the monastery," the abbess replied. "At the monastery, we rely on awareness, not doctrines." "But," insisted the professor, "you must have a philosophy which explains the importance of being aware." After pausing to consider how best to respond, the abbess said, As we walked along, we were both aware of how hot, sweaty, and tired we had become from our walk. We didn't need a philosophy to tell us the benefits of sitting down here in the shade. If you put your hand on a hot stove, you don't need a philosophy to pull the hand away. If a baby is crying from hunger, the need to feed the child is obvious to the parent. Buddhist practice does not depend on having a set of doctrines or beliefs. Rather, it depends on being aware of what brings relief from suffering. Rather than being taught Buddhist philosophy, at the monastery, the monks and nuns are trained to develop an acutely refined awareness. With such sensitivity, ultimate liberation is as natural as sitting down in the shade on a hot day. So, with apologies to our daughter who's studying philosophy, that slightly anti-academic tilt, I think, is also an important part of what's meant by naturalness, to just stay out of our heads and cultivate that refined awareness that is very much, about natural presence. Anyway, wanted to share those things. So thank you all for bearing with that. Kelly, could you please bring up the bodhicitta and bodhisattva vows on page 3? Great, thank you. All right, I'm going to read these. I'll spare you any attempt to sing. That's Elizabeth's department. So from now until reaching perfect Buddhahood, for the benefit of all sentient beings without exception, I shall practice the 6 perfections wholeheartedly, day and night. Sentient beings are numberless, we vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible, we vow to transcend them. Dharma teachings are boundless, we vow to realize them. The Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable, we vow to embody it.
So before we sit for a little bit, I'd like to offer a song that I wrote called Invocation. Morning star, take your seat, the one that you came with. Let's allow and let it all come and go. Let's allow. Oh, I like a mountain, like the sky. Oh, oh, my, oh. Death and birth and joy. Who do you think you're not? Who do you think you're not? Body like a mountain, breath like the ocean's waves, mind like the sky. Oh, oh, oh. Just sitting, just breathing, just being. Let's ease into the three naturals, the three pillars of natural meditation. Natural body is Buddha's body, Nirmanakaya. Natural breath and energy is Buddha's breath, Sambhogakaya. Natural heart mind is Buddha's mind, Dharmakaya. We can let go of all of our masks and our roles and just drop into what is. Attentive and at ease in our Buddha nature, enjoying the natural state, centered, balanced, and at ease. Everywhere is center. And turning the spotlight inward. Okay. Question: who or what is experiencing? Who or what is thinking, hearing? Pop the question, as Lama says, and rest in the natural great perfection of things just as they are. Seeing through and being through and abiding in that. Getting used to that. Rinse and repeat.
from body, just sitting, natural breath and energy, just breathing, natural heart and mind, just being. Naturally easy. Naturally simple. Naturally deconstricted. Trying. Trying not to try. Just. naturally mysterious, naturally ineffable. You can't miss. You are that which you seek.
So as we come close to the end of our time together, let's chant Tara's mantra. Feel free to chant along or just rest in the sound, radiating and absorbing blessings for all beings. Oh, tare tu, so tare tu, ye, soham, 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 tare tu, ye, soham. Feel free to move. Tare tu, ye, soham, tare tu, ye, soham, tare tu, ye, soham, tare tu, ye, soham. Tuning into what is. Tare tu, ye, soham, 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 tare tu, soham.
Could you bring up the dedication of virtue to complete realization and the bodhicitta dedication?
Thanks so much. Awesome.
Through this virtue, may we swiftly realize and fully embody
the natural great
perfection, and thereby
bring all without exception
to its complete realization.
Chanchup Sanchok Rinpoche, Makye Manam Gyushik, Ye Panyam Panyam, Gomyu Elwa Sho. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened.
Great. And perfect. May all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected and who want and need the same as we do, May they be awakened, liberated, healed, fulfilled, safe, and free. May there be peace and harmony in this world, an end to war and violence, poverty and hunger, inequality and oppression, greed and cruelty, pandemics, famine, droughts, earthquakes, all kinds of natural disasters. May all be free from fear, harm, danger, anxiety, and insecurity. May we better prepare ourselves for the natural calamities that beset us all. And may we all together complete the spiritual journey. One beloved community, one circle, one family, all the way home. So first of all, I just saw a chat flash up that maybe the butcher ding story was difficult for vegetarians, and I very much apologize if anybody was made uncomfortable by that. Does anyone have any questions or anything they'd like to share? We have a few minutes left.
You can send a direct message to me, or we can have you raise your hand. And I know, John and Elizabeth, there was a request for sharing of the books you referenced. So if you could either send those to me and I'll put them in the chat, or if you could put them in the chat, that would be great.
Okay, or I could hold them up and say what they are.
It's hard to see.
Better in the chat.
Yeah.
Chat. Okay.
Will do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to see all your beautiful faces. I can't tell you, there's something, whenever I tune in, I love seeing this, and it's very special to receive this energy today. And I just want to give it back and thank you all so much. It's been great being together with you today, and I wish you all a beautiful day. And thank you so much for your practice, and onward and inward. Thank you all.
Okay. And I will put these in the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we have an event coming up on May 11th for members. It's a sort of get to know you session with Lama Surya. So if you are a member, there'll be registration available for that. And if you aren't a member, I highly encourage you to become a member. You can become a member for as little as $5 a month. Doesn't require a big donation, but then you get access to all kinds of sort of behind the scenes access to Lama Surya. And this one will be particularly fun. We all get a taste of his personality when he's teaching, and this will just be a deeper opportunity to experience the joyful spirit that Lama Surya is. So, and you'll be able to ask him questions, which will be fun.
Thank you so much, Kelly. And thank you,
My
Menla.
pleasure.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Nice to see you all.
You all.
Have a good natural Sunday.
Thank you, John and Elizabeth, for beautiful teaching.
Pleasure.